Hello. Today, let's look at job descriptions. Not just job descriptions for everybody, but the job descriptions of the African leaders. I still choose to call them rulers. Now, what is the job description of your legislator? What is the job description of your country's president? This question goes to Africans, African citizens, African people in their different countries and regions and subdivisions of their countries, the individuals, because each person counts. My question to you is, what is a job description of your governor? What is a job description of your president? What is a job description of your senator or your parliamentarian or even your county chairman, your local government chairman, and regional functionaries? Those people who present themselves to you for electoral offices. What are their job descriptions? Have you found time to think about that? You got born into a country, of course, all of us get born into a country. We grow up, we learn whatever we are taught. We grow old, we die. But at this time, in this season, and in this generation, questions are being asked. And so, my question to you is, what is the job description of your government official? When you go to look for jobs, you will first see an advertisement. When you see the ad, it specifies the position, the qualifications, the experience requirements, and all kinds of antecedents of that job. You are supposed to already know that you meet those requirements. You do before you apply. And when you apply, you attach the requisite papers to show that you are qualified to do the job. And that's how the companies will know that you are eligible to occupy the position. So before you even come in the door to be interviewed, the company already knows what credentials you have. Otherwise, they won't even call you for an interview. And these companies are mostly making profits, growing, banking tons of money. And at the end of every year, when they post their income and expenses, what they call it income and expenditure, they post everything, they do their final accounts, and balance sheets is in there, income statement is in there, cash flow statement is in there, income or statement of owners equity is in there. They will go home with a profit. And when they go home with a profit, they identify already in those statements how much is going to be earnings before taxes, dividends, or earnings after taxes and dividends and everything. But that's how the companies operate. But you know what? You do not think that your country should operate in that way. And what does that leave you with? It leaves you with a bunch of individuals who will take laws into their hands and treat you whatever way they want and get away with it, go home with a lot of money. The money that your country should be banking to declare dividends and pay you a dividend for being a citizen, that money is going into private coffers. But that's what you have. That's what you give to yourself because you think that your country should not grow the way companies grow. That is just why I'm asking you today, what is the job description of your president? Have you even looked for a document that states what the president of your country should have? No, think about it. We have like 54 countries. Well, you can call it 55 because, I mean, the 55th one, as far as I'm concerned, is also a country. So these countries have either prime ministers or presidents, somebody who is occupying the central seat at the helm of affairs. Have you found time to look it up? I mean, look up the requirements for that office. And do you even spare a moment to think what you would expect of the person who will run the affairs of your country? I don't want to throw up names of countries in this conversation because I'm not here to advertise a country. I am here to talk to the citizens of African countries. Do you know the job description of your ministers? They call them members of the president's cabinet. Who are they? Who are they? Where did they get those people from? Does your country have a university or universities? Are there experts at those institutions who know about the economy? People who probably have degrees in economics and business. Do you have them? Because if you have if you have a country where the president or prime minister does not know anything about economics, demand and supply, oh man, and price, those three things are always very important to me: demand, supply, and price. Any president who does not know demand, supply, and price, and the mechanisms and all those things, the president or the prime minister or such or ministers of such a country will not take the country far because they do not know about the laws, especially the law of competitive advantage. You don't know it. Your country is always competing with other countries, whether you know it or not. The country is competing. But because the country is competing and nobody is thinking about it, then the company will not go far because it does not even know that it is competing. So, those things that your country has that we can call the bargaining chips, the natural resources of the country, they are the bargaining chips. If your country does not even know, when I say your country, the people leading the country, if they do not know about the country's bargaining chips, the natural resources in your country, that's what they're going to use for bargaining. They should step up something about those resources so they can become exporters, not just importers. Because if your country has natural resources and you are importing final products arising from those resources you have, then something is wrong. Something is wrong. And you can only begin to stem that tide when you ask yourself, how qualified is this functionary? How qualified is this president? How qualified is this senator? And how qualified is this parliamentarian? How qualified is this governor? And how qualified is this local government chairman? And when you are done with that, you begin to ask yourself, who are the members of the cabinet? Because every prime minister has a cabinet, every governor has a cabinet. Do you even know that every chairman of a local government council has a cabinet? Who are members of that cabinet? Where did he get them from? What are their qualifications? Each person should have a pedigree. When you look at it, look at a person and look at what the person is bringing to the table, you will know if things will be okay down the road or not. And every regime has a tenure. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. There's got to be a document that stipulates how long the tenure of a government should be. And then you know that there's time frames. How long are they going to be in charge of your affairs? And while they are in charge of those affairs, what do you know contained in their job description that you will hold them accountable for, so that within that one term of their government, you know whether they have done those things in their job description. So today, again, we are talking about job descriptions. What is in the job description of that your functionary? And I'm naming them: the president of the 55 countries, the ministers who are in that president's cabinet, the governors who are in charge of the states in that country, the cabinet, the members of that cabinet, of the governor's cabinet, the parliamentarians, no matter what method you're using. If you're using executive presidency method, then the senators, what are their qualifications? The governors, or not the governors, the congressmen or the parliamentarians or whatever you call them in your country. There are 55 countries. That's what I choose to say. Who are the parliamentarians in those countries? What are their qualifications? Did they give you bags of rice for you to send them to the parliament? Did they give you drinking water that you would drink today and thirst tomorrow? Did they give you a little piece of money that will not even be enough to buy you lunch just to get your vote? Did you even vote? But the moment you begin to look at the credentials of those functionaries, and you begin to look at how qualified each one is to occupy that position, they will know that you are looking. It's called probing. You don't want to probe somebody because a person looted funds, stole money. That's when you begin to do your probing. That's too late. The water has already passed under the bridge. But if you begin to probe before the person comes to the polls to be voted for, that person will know that you are looking. And they'll do things right. And they will know that if you began to investigate them before they come to the polls to get your vote, they know that you probe and investigate even more when they are in that office. You got to answer this question. What are the credentials of your government functionaries? I mean, if Africa can have 55 brains, I don't know how to describe it. If Africa can have 55 people who know their economics, who know demand, supply, and price, Africa will begin to be just a little healthy because there is pricing, there's demand. What does your country produce that can make your country a supplier? Because if you buy more than you sell, you are going down the drain. So you are president, you are parliamentarians, you are governors, you are local government leaders. Do they subscribe to selling more and buying less? Or do they subscribe to selling less and buying more? Because selling less and buying more leads you to borrowing. And when you go to the borrowing zone, that is the abyss. That is a bottomless pit. Because anyone who knows how to borrow knows also how to steal. And once they get used to it, they say practice makes perfect. It will be very difficult for you to reverse the trend. But if the trend is already going on, Africa, African citizens, if that kind of trend is already going on, well, it's going on already. So you have to be able to do something to stem the tide. You have to stem the tide so that things will change for the better in your country. You got to stem the tide because that is the only way to solve the problem facing your country. So, what is the qualification of your government functionary? What is his job description? Is he qualified to be in that office? Does he have the qualifications and the credentials needed to be in that office? Does he have them? If he does, then you've scaled the first hurdle. Then the second hurdle would then be to check and see if he or she is doing what need to be done in that office. Otherwise, you are going down the drain. And the day the die will be cast, you'll probably be the first to go down the drain because whoever is looting and stealing and being incompetent at his governance tasks already knows that every day is for the thief and one day is for the owner of the house. You are the owner of the house. When you show up to have your day, you will know how much damage that has already taken place. What are the qualifications of your government functionaries? What are their job descriptions? And I'm giving you an assignment. Search everywhere. Search the newspapers, the libraries. Search everywhere you can. Ask questions. And if you're a student at the university, ask your lecturers, ask your professors, what is the job description of the president? What is the job description of the governor? What is the job description of the ministers and the parliamentarians and all of them? Discuss it in the classroom because that is how to create a citizenry that can move a country forward. You have to do something about the credentials of those who are running the affairs of your country. Africa has 55 countries. Africa is huge. You cannot, in all honesty, allow your country to fail because of your um, lackluster, what again do I call it? Carefree attitude. You've been watching your country going down the drain because you just don't care. I don't want to say you are ignorant. Nobody should be ignorant. Not even in the information age. Not even in the information age where we are already talking about artificial intelligence. Because artificial intelligence has opened the eyes of so many people. So if we are at the stage of artificial intelligence, but you are not even making use of information that we already passed the stage, we already passed the jet age long ago, then something is wrong with you. And you cannot wallow in ignorance. Your country should be very important to you. Check the job descriptions first. And after that, you will match it against what those government officials are already doing because they are there. They're already doing something. They go to work. Some of them go to work with in convoys with siren, and some of them even go to work with the military or security agencies accompanying them to work. What is a civilian ruler or civilian leader or civilian government functionary? What is that civilian doing with soldiers and carrying guns and looking for protection? If they are using the military to protect themselves, then you should ask yourself, what is going on? What is wrong? Who is doing what and who is not doing what? These are questions you need to ask, because in a good society, a government functionary can even go to work on a motorbike, riding a motorbike. A government functionary can go to work riding a bicycle. A government functionary can go to work trekking if his place of work is close to where he lives. So if the government functionary is requiring arms carrying security, then it means that that ruler is not sure of his life. There was a man back in history, his name was Emperor Menelik of Ethiopia. This Ethiopian emperor would wake up in the morning, shower, have his breakfast, and dress up like just the regular people and walk into the community, looking around, going from place to place. And when he gets to a place where people are digging the trenches or the gutter or sewage or raking the streets and doing those things, he will roll up his sleeves and join them to do that manual labor. And when they are done, he will keep going. And if he sees people raking the leaves off the road, he'll just borrow a rake from somebody and join to rake. After that, he will go home and rest. He has served his community. So, how many of you can say that you have seen your president or your governor or your parliamentarian going to do these things that Emperor Menelik did in his own days? How many of you? I mean, down to the local government functionaries who are supposed to be the grassroots people who are from within the area. Their relatives are there, and who among you can say that he has seen such service rendered by the political class? I mean, across Africa. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It might exist, but how many of you do see something like that? Begin the probing when it is proper. Check the job descriptions of these functionaries and match the job descriptions against what they are doing and the jobs they are doing, to see if they are doing what they are supposed to do based on their job descriptions. When you match their output against their job description, then you will know what to do. The next thing will be for those who are not doing well, you can look them up. They're everywhere. Go online, search those individuals, find out their qualifications, and find out what they studied, find out what they have done over time, and then know if they have done those things before and right now they're not able to do it. Then you know that they have become, what do you call it? Spent. They are spent. They've exhausted their energy, their mental capacity. They've exhausted all those things. So they are no longer capable of doing what they need to do. That means that you can arrange to have them replaced. I mean, across Africa, did you even know that there's something called recall? Every parliamentarian, even a governor, even a president, they are all from a hamlet. They can be recalled. So you should know that the qualifications are involved, the job descriptions are involved, the performance is involved, capacity is involved. Look at all the factors of governance. Look at everything. And if there's a sign showing that this person who is occupying an office, public office, is not doing exactly what is in the job description, or maybe the person has a good job description, but the person goes into the office and every day what the person is doing is collecting money, banking them in his personal account, moving money from government coffers to his private coffers, forming new corporations in his name, in his wife's name, in his son's name, in the name of his son-in-law, in his daughter's name, and putting monies in all those places. Money is coming from the general coffers. And then within one term in office, the person who said that he did not have money to buy the ticket. Some countries even sell ticket. You want to run for an office, you go to the party office and pay an amount to be given a piece of paper showing that you have bought the ticket. Now you can run. You have to check all those things and know what your country should do. You cannot just sit back and sleep when the ship is going down. Again, they say that repetition is the mother of retention. So I'm repeating, check the job descriptions of your government functionaries. Check their performance. Check their credentials. Check everything that they need to do. Check everything that they've done. Check what you expect them to do. Match everything up and know if they should still be in that office or not. If they should be in that office, give them all the support they need. If they should not be in that office, do not hesitate to begin the process of recalling them. Recall them. If the newspapers are all bought over and they cannot publish the truth, you create a newspaper. You are a citizen of that country. Create a newspaper. Create a newsletter. If you cannot run a newspaper, create a newsletter, 4 pages. Make copies at the business center. Give to your friends. Tell them to give to their friends and circulate what you are thinking. And let people begin to see that someone is thinking. And when you do that, people who think the way you do will all rally round. And things will begin to change for the better. What is the job description of your government functionary? What is the qualification of your government functionary? What is the experience of your government functionary? What is the performance? And become aware so that you will not be dragged down the abyss without knowing what's going on. Thank you very much. Goodbye.